Hello everyone, I am Fpl Rondo and welcome back to the channel. So what we're going to be going over today is my team selection for game week 3. I have gone over my transfers in the previous video, so if you are looking into the specific transfers I've made and why I've made those specific decisions, watch that previous video, it will be linked below. But what we're going to go over today is just the team selection, my captaincy, my vice captaincy, although we know our captain's going to play, and just go over all that in this video. So it might be a bit of a short one, but nevertheless I do hope you enjoy and stay tuned. So here is my team going into game week 3. I do think the team pretty much picks itself in this situation, but starting in goal, I've gone for Onana of Manchester United. Now, he does play against my substitutes, Matt Turner, who does play obviously for Nottingham Forest. I do think that Onana does have a higher chance of a clean sheet, especially at Old Trafford. That's why I've selected him in that position there in goal. Going into the defence, I've gone for Ben Chilwell against Luton Town at Stamford Bridge. Again, I think this is a bit of a no-brainer, and I do think that there is a high chance of a clean sheet here as well, if not an assist or a goal as well from Ben Chilwell, just seeing how attacking he has been in those first 2 games. Obviously, he did get substituted off at the 60th minute in that last game. That might have just been to rest him. Obviously, it is the start of the season, so just to get that fitness up and the sharpness, he might have been rested a bit early. I'm hoping that's the case and he does get the full 90 minutes against Luton, just because that is such a good fixture to attack, and hopefully Chilwell, basically playing in that left wing position, can get some attacking returns. We can only hope there and see as the games go on. In defence alongside Ben Chilwell, we've gone for Saliba, who is obviously a new transfer in for me. That was just to cover that Arsenal defence, and Fulham at home is one I do think that Arsenal can keep a clean sheet there. Obviously, we will have to see, because Fulham's attack is okay, but with Mitrovic out as well, and I believe he's actually moved on to Saudi League right now, that just weakens their attack that bit more. So I do think Saliba there is a great pick, and I'm very happy to have him in my starting 11. Assuming he actually does start, because watch Gabriel come in and take his place now that I've transferred him out, and Saliba gets benched, but that's for another day. Estepinian alongside those two. West Ham at home is a fixture that they might concede a goal. I am expecting that potential outcome, but with Estepinian, you are there for the attacking returns, and as we've seen in the first 2 games, he's had 2 assists and a goal, I believe, so he is absolutely on fire for that Brighton team, and is basically playing like a striker for them. So yeah, very happy to have him in my team, and very well could get an attacking return again in this game, make it 3 for 3. Moving on to the midfield now, and I have included all 5 of my midfielders in this 3-5-2 formation, which I do believe is the most optimal strategy for me this week. I've gone for my new signings of Mbeumo and Ødegaard. They've got Crystal Palace at home and Fulham at home, and I do think they are great fixtures that you should be looking to attack this week. Saka, Rashford and Eze are my other players in that midfield lineup. Saka holds the vice captaincy, as I said just then. Fulham at home especially is a great fixture to target right now. Fulham didn't look great in the opening fixture against Everton at Goodison Park, and that's against Everton, so what Fulham can do against them, we will just have to find out. But yeah, vice captain, just because I do think that Haaland fixture is more optimal, and he will have a higher chance of getting goals and points in that game. But yeah, Saka holding the vice captain, very happy to do so there. Rashford against Nottingham Forest at home is a great fixture, and this very well could be a good chance for him to turn his form around. He hasn't looked great in those first 2 games at the start of the season, but he very well might be able to turn it around and start getting a goal or 2 in this game, and just build up his form, his confidence, and just push him into the season from this week on. That could very well happen, and I'm just hoping it does so for my FPL team and for him himself, because he is a great player. Eze in that Brentford fixture, it very well could be his last chance. He might get sold next week, just depending on how he turns out. I do know he does have a good fixture run coming up, and that very well might lead me to keep hold of him. It is something I'm just throwing up in the air currently, and I'm not completely decided on my decision here yet. It's just going to be a week by week thing that I sort of sit back, review whether he is actually worth having in the team, because if the fixtures weren't so bad for Brighton, I would have already changed him to Solly March. But just due to the fixtures for Brighton getting worse, I've decided to keep hold of Eze just to give him a good run in my team, as those fixtures do get better from now on as well. So it's just potentially a waiting game for him specifically. And yeah, that's the midfield. Moving on to forwards, and I do think this again speaks for itself pretty well. You've got Nicholas Jackson against Luton at home. That is absolutely fantastic, and I do know a lot of people are bringing him in this week despite just 2 1-pointers in the first 2 game weeks. His fixture run coming up is absolutely fantastic. He's got like a good run of about 6 or 7 fixtures there where he very well could be getting a lot of goals against some weaker defenses in the league. So if you haven't already considered it, I would definitely look at Nicholas Jackson as a potential option to bring in the coming weeks. Just keep that in mind there. Haaland captain against Sheffield United. That is one of the best captaincy decisions of the year. It is just a no-brainer, and I do believe that he will be the majority captained player this week, and I can't see many differential captains being picked just because Sheffield United are looking like the weakest team in the league. And yeah, Haaland against that defense is just going to be crazy, you would assume on paper anyway, so hopefully it does play out that way and we can get some good points for him. João Pedro on the bench is my decision here. I do think that 3-5-2 formation is more optimal. The only player I would have considered swapping Pedro for is Eze against Brentford. That could happen, and that is the only sort of substitution I might consider this week. I will let you know on Twitter if that does happen. It might just be based off of some early team news, we might see. But yeah, for now it is João Pedro benched against West Ham, just because I think Eze has a bit more potential and he has those expected minutes, and he will play the 490 unless he does get injured or has an absolute stinker of a game, which I don't think will happen. So yeah, I've got for Nicholas Jackson and Haaland. Again, if you are looking into bringing a striker this over the coming weeks, Jackson might be the person for you if you can afford him or work a way to bring him into your team. Pedro is benched temporarily, and that is just based off of his previous game and the fact that he was benched going into that. But yeah, that's for another day, and we'll have to review that after the week's been and gone. Kabore and Bayer are just the bench sitters, and they will be for the majority of the season, so there's no surprises or changes there. They will just sit there for the majority of the season. So yeah, very happy with the team. Obviously, I am 3.2 million from the world right now, which isn't ideal. We are hoping to push that in the next few weeks, get my rank up as much as possible, but it's a long season, it's a marathon, not a sprint, and I'm not too let down by the fact that my rank is so low currently. It was just a case of having an absolute honker of a game week 2, and hopefully we can recover from that in the coming weeks. It's not like it's the end of the season where you're scrambling to get players in to sort of have differentials. So yeah, I'm not stressed there at all, and hopefully we can climb from here because it's only up. I would hope so anyway. But yeah, that's the team for this week. So that's my team for game week 3. Hopefully it does perform better than my game week 2 team did with those 35 points. I'm sure we will be beating that this week. I'd like to thank you all so much for watching. Who have you picked for captaincy? If you've gone away from Haaland, let me know in the comments below. Who have you transferred in? Hopefully you haven't taken a -4 like I have as well. Obviously I've just pressed the panic button so early on, but hopefully we can make some good changes here and get some good points just to improve my rank as much as possible. That Odegaard pick does scare me a bit just because I was so close to picking Phil Foden, but hopefully Odegaard does come out good over the next few weeks. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. Any feedback is appreciated in the comment section below, and yeah, have a nice rest of your day and take care.